We did the first album at Olympic.
Yeah, famous,
that was after
famous studio. Sadly, no longer there.
To be fair, that's where I learnt a lot of my...
Yeah.
By just looking at what goes on, really. Because I was technically minded. Apart from the music, I was interested in what was going on behind the scenes.
And Olympic Studios was the end studio.
It certainly was. I mean, The Who, the Beatles recorded All You Need Is Love there, that big live television.
The Rolling Stones.
Yeah, everybody recorded there. And that was the studio. Anyway, so Andrew, for the second album, decided to send us to Rockfield. I don't know whose decision that was, but and that back in 1972, and here I arrived in Monmouth, which was quite odd because my grandmother lived in Monmouth. I used to come here when I was like 5 years old. So it was a strange coincidence, although they say there are never any coincidences. I ended up in Monmouth. When we were recording it here, the Help Yourself albums, the engineer Ralph Down, who was the original engineer, apart from yourself. Yeah, he quite often used to disappear for lengthy periods.
With his girlfriend. In a tent.
And I thought, well, and obviously Kings used to pop in, and I thought, well, I think I can do this. So I gradually kind of got myself into understanding what went where and why it went there.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of how I got my sort of interest in engineering. So you phoned me. I remember you and Pat phoned me. You offered to say, would you like to come down here and train as an engineer? One of the first sessions I did was with Dave. It was a B-side to one of his records, and I played brushes on it as well as engineered it. So that was the first connection with Dave. So, and from then on, I engineered for quite a long time here with Pat Moran, who was the sort of senior engineer, as it were. And I think Dave asked me to. I think maybe he's heard some of the Airwaves records that we did here, and then he asked me eventually, would I like to come and drum with him?
Oh, we moved into the 80s then?
Yeah, that would be in the 80s.
Because you were engineer roughly in the 70s.
Yes, through the 70s. That's from 74 through to the 80s. And then the Edmonds connection started throughout the 80s. But I did kind of flit in and out.
Yeah.
Because at that time I started progressing into producing, so therefore the Charlatans came into it, and various.
You did a lot of work with the Charlatans.
Yeah, in here, did quite a bit with the Charlatans, and lots of other people. Hawkwind, they did a lot in the 70s.
Yeah, and of course you're part of the Airways band.
Yeah, which was this sort of studio band.
Bit of a multi-talent, yeah.
Well,
engineer,
so
producer, and drummer.
Yeah, the Rockfield answer to the Hit Factory, wasn't it? Really?
Hit Factory was the right word for us.
We never quite got to bolting my drums down, because I think that's what they did. They used to bolt the kit down, didn't they, to make sure they got this and make sure the mics were always in the same place, so they didn't have to. If anyone had a song, they could instantly record it without losing any time.
I remember that. But Dave Edmonds, and you started touring with Edmonds extensively, didn't you?
Yes, I did, quite a bit.
Right around the world.
Yeah.
Because in America, you actually started recording with Edmonds in other studios.
Yes, and I gained quite a lot of knowledge on studio, not only the techniques used in the recording, but the hardware of studios, the actual buildings, design, and all the things that were going on in that front.
Because that came in very handy to Rockfield.
Well, when I came back, I used to come back, and obviously when I wasn't working, I'd sort of help you out with various projects here.
Because in 1986, we split the company. My brother Charles took half the company, Morrow Valley.
Yeah.
And I had Rockfield.
That's right, yeah.
And then we decided to rebuild Rockfield because it'd been going now for such a long time.
Yeah, it needed updating in certain ways. I mean, obviously, technically, the equipment was updating itself really by what was coming out, but the actual studio buildings needed a bit of tweaking here and there.
Go back to the early 70s and 60s, in fact.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking, we're going to rebuild Rockfield. What we're going to do? I think we're going to put a team together because it's teamwork. And I remember saying, well, Dave, you know about studios because you said to me, I've been to America and I've seen loads of studios. I got a good idea how to design acoustic roofs and things, with angles and things, which I'd never heard of. And I said, brilliant. I said, well, Dave, if you know about roofs, roofs in America and studios in America, they must be good because you've only been in big studios in America. You design the roof at Rockfield's new studio, which is the Coach, which is a quadrangle studio. You designed the roof. Then we had a team of people together. Terry Matthews was a carpenter. He did a carpentry. Dave Watkins built the stones, walls, and the speakers. Otto Garms, but we did all the equipment, and I was in charge with Otto. It was a team effort.
It was,
But what surprised me was the way it turned out, because tell us something about the studios. Like the studio we're in now, which is the quadrangle studio, had a very nice roof. I see all the angles, which I'd never heard of before. So just give us a bit of insight for anybody looking on about studio acoustics, roofs and angles and reflections and things.
Well, the main thing with angles is to try and stop what they call in the business standing waves.
Oh, I know, it go back and forward.
Which is like when sometimes you go into a bathroom and it sounds very echoey and kind of harsh. Well, what originally this studio in 1974 when it
flat roof.
It had a flat roof, but it was also designed to be very dead.
Yes,
there was hardly any reflection at all.
No, that was the secret of the studio.
But that was what everybody wanted. They wanted close mic'd sounds, very, very dry sounding acoustics. But that kind of didn't work for a lot of people because as music and ideas moved on, people wanted more ambient sounds that sounded a bit liver, but still with an element of control to it. So these ideas with angles and different sizes of, in this case, different planks of wood that give you different reflections, but it tends to break it all up, and it never actually creates a standing wave. And also on the walls, each panel is slightly different in its. They look fairly similar, but they're different in the behind.
Some are reset, and some are stood out.
Exactly.
And you got different materials involved in.
And what you're doing, in effect, is increasing the internal area of the room. You know, if it's a flat wall, if you make them different sizes, you start to increase the surface, the surface area.
Breaks up the standing waves.
Yeah, absolutely. And
you put absorbing material behind the panels to absorb the sound.
Yeah, that's right.
And the roof stops the reflection coming down.
Yeah, it stops. It feels quite live. Not exactly live, but it feels quite airy in here. But it's not oppressive, and the sound is also the same. It allows the sound to move around but not create these standing waves, is what you don't want. Because if you think the floor is completely flat, you can't have an undulating floor. That's got to be flat, so you've got to make the ceiling.
So you make the roof undulating, so there's no reflection.
And usually, if you can see, there are gaps in it. So if it was completely flat, it wouldn't work as well, because then it would start to create standing waves. And I think maybe you were going to work. We'll come on to the echo chambers that Rockfield has.
Well, and also we're lucky at Rockfield because we're known for our drum sounds. We have a massive drum room, the other side of the control room. We've also have another drum room here, which my brother designed in 1974. With moving walls. You can alter the sound of the drum room.
Well, there again, you see, he had the idea of breaking up, going from a completely flat wall to one that's open.
I can move.
And then that will stop. That will actually deaden the sound and stop those standing waves. But sometimes it might be good if you want it to be a very hard sound.
Yeah, of course.
You could use that design feature.
Yeah, it's very, very handy because you open the door slightly, the walls open, and it changes the sound of the drum room.
That's right.
The other drum room, roughly, is massive. But a lot of people
which incidentally was never designed as a drum room. It was designed as a games room.
Well, the first band to use was Rush. Remember Rush?
That's right,
They put all their instruments in there, drummers, and we couldn't believe it. And I think when Queen were here doing Bohemian Rhapsody in 1974, '85,
Yeah.
Brian May liked the sound of that room, which was a games room.
That's right, yeah.
And he put his amplifier there, he loved the echo. And that's when we suddenly realised this room was designed as a games room. Perhaps it's better served as part of the studio. And ever since then, that room has been used on so many hit records.
Well.
And where people around the world have spent millions on designing studios and trying to get the acoustics right. And they're terrible. We decided we spent sod all on any of this, and they're fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things are happy accidents in music and films.
Happy accidents.
Incidentally, the games room, I don't think when in the middle of Bohemian Rhapsody, the single, when it cuts to the big live sound, that is the sound of that room.
Yeah.
It is. It really is, because they fed the drums back through there.
Yeah.
And that gives you that big explosion of sound.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, you could say it was an accident, but somebody had to realise it was a good thing to do, which was probably Roy Baker.
It was the bands that twigged it. Brian May twigged it when he put his guitar amplifier up, solo beat, loved the echo. Rush did it.
Because up until that point, all major studios like EMI and Decca and all those places were they were like laboratories in a way. They were so controlled that I think a lot of bands felt quite sort of inhibited in there, and especially, I mean, engineers used to walk around in white coats and don't touch that microphone, don't put that horrible, nasty guitar amplifier near a very expensive German microphone, because you'll break it.
No,
but it turned out not to be true.
So, as you say, Rockfield's a happy accident.
Well, yeah, you could say that, yeah.
Because today Rockfield is now worldwide rated as probably the greatest.
But it sort of grew organically because that was the good thing about Rockfield, because it was never planned as such. It's come up it was planned initially by you. The vision was there, but it's grown in an organic way, which is really good. And that's what people like coming here, because they feel that sort of empathy with nature and all the rest of it, you know.